The San Antonio Spurs are becoming very dangerous, okay? They're becoming one of the best teams in the entire NBA. Now, I know what you're thinking. They're probably not even going to make the playoffs this year. Very valid point, but that's also a big point due to the fact that Wembanyama is out with blood clots. And assuming Wembanyama's career isn't going to get ended by this, I think the San Antonio Spurs' future is probably by far the brightest in the entire NBA. And I don't think you can really argue it. And I have a few different reasons why I feel this way. So if you want to hear those reasons, please watch the video all the way through. And without worrying on too much, let's get right into this video. So the first and probably the biggest reason I have for the San Antonio Spurs, in my opinion, being a legitimate super team in the future is going to be their young core.
Baby shark, do 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 do, baby shark, do 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 do, baby shark.
As you would be hard pressed, and in my opinion, it would be impossible to find a better young core than what the San Antonio Spurs have. The Spurs have Wembanyama, who's a 21-year-old MVP candidate, is going to be one of the best, if not the best, defender in the entire league for decades to come. And he's going to probably be, like I said, an MVP candidate as well for the majority of that time as well. And then on top of that, you have guys like Devin Vassell, who's only 24 years old, and he's a starter, a borderline star at times. He's a beast of a scorer, give you around 20 points per game, solid defender, just an overall very good player. Stefan Castle, he's only 20 years old. He looks like a potential star in the making. Jeremy Sohan is one of the most underrated defenders in the entire league at only 21 years old. He's an elite defender, can give you around 15 points per game as well. Very solid athlete, just kind of a junkyard dog that every team needs. And is just a very solid player. Even Keldon Johnson is still only 25 years old, and he is an extremely good role player, probably one of the better scorers off of anyone's bench. And like I said, only 25 years old, so he's only going to keep on getting better and better. And then even a guy like Julian Champagnie, who doesn't get a lot of like love on this roster because of how many other high like headliner players they have on this team above him, he is one of the most solid 3 and D role players in the entire NBA at only 23. So he is still very, very good as well. And everyone on this young core, they're all extremely good players who would be legitimate guys on basically every roster in the entire NBA. And all of them are extremely young and are all going to be building chemistry as time goes on together. And that's so fun to watch, and especially when there are this many young guys with this many high ceilings coming together. Watching them gel over time is going to be an extremely fun thing to watch. And then, if you want to push this young core even farther and you look into the future, they own their own first round pick, which is right now projected the ninth overall pick, where they can get a guy like Noah Osange, Liam McNeely, Ben Saroff, Danny Wolf, guys like that. And they have the Atlanta Hawks first round pick, which is currently projected the 11th overall pick, both lottery picks. And they can once again get like guys like Ben Saroff, Rashad Fleming, McKinley, Danny Wolf. They can go in many different ways. They could trade the picks, go even higher. They're telling what they could do in this draft. If they have two lottery picks in this unbelievably stacked class, if for God forbid one of them becomes a top 3 pick, they're set up and they're going to win championships in the future, hands down. There's just no doubt about it. But even if they get like just normal lottery picks, this class is so stacked that they're going to probably get two at least rotational guys, maybe even better. And you add that to an already unbelievably good young core, and this team is going to be set up for not just the future, but like the very vast foreseeable future. I guess eventually you're going to have to pay guys, money is going to become an issue, but you're going to have at least 8 years with all these guys because you can extend them from their rookie, and you're always going to extend them on their rookie deal if you want to. You're going to have the rights and things like that. So this young core could set them up for the future for an extremely long time, especially if they hit on these two lottery picks in this year's class. And what makes this so crazy is that that's just the young core. That's not even really their main crux of the current roster, as they already have a great all-around roster, as they're obviously led by De'Aaron Fox and Wembanyama. And they're probably going to be a duo for a very long time as well, because even De'Aaron Fox, even though he's not really considered a young player anymore, he's 27. Like, he has a very long time of high-level basketball ahead of him. And as him and Victor Wembanyama play more and more together, they get a full offseason plus training camp together. Their chemistry is going to go through the roof. They're going to learn how to play together much better, and no telling how good this star duo could be, because Wembanyama is probably going to get exponentially better for a very long time, and De'Aaron Fox has just entered the prime of his career, so he is going to also be playing the highest level of basketball we have ever seen him play. So them two together, as they build chemistry and as they just improve individually, they're going to get much better together, and that duo should be there for a very long time. And then you put on the top of the fact that they already have great role players surrounding them, and guys like Chris Paul, Devin Vasil, Harrison Barnes, Castle, Champagny, Keldon Johnson, Sochan, etc. They have a ton of guys that can they build around role players, young guys that they're going to be able to keep for a very long time. And the chemistry of this roster could get to a point that very few teams can get to due to how long they're probably going to be able to stick around with a lot of these players, assuming they don't make huge trades to try to get a superstar also with Wembanyama. This team could be together for a very long time, and teams that are together for a long time and they build that chemistry and play at the highest level they possibly can together, when you combine the fact that their best player is maybe a MVP candidate and then their second best player is a perennial all-star and one of the best point guards in the NBA with other guys developing behind them, maybe becoming stars, there's no telling how high the ceiling of this roster could be. So, with them already having one of the best young cores, on top of them already having a very good all around roster, they're basically chemistry and a few maybe pieces away from becoming one of the better teams the NBA maybe could have ever seen. And then, even on top of everything I already said, there are very clear paths to improvement for this team. Like, there's not many teams that are already like, they have, you can clearly see the future, but on top of that, that they're already going to be like obviously ways to improve the roster. Usually, you have to do it through a trade that no one can really foresee, or you have to get lucky in the draft, or you have to get a big free agent signing. But that's not really what the San Antonio Spurs have to do in any way whatsoever. As just looking at the roster, how it currently is, their entire young core is far from done improving. All of their ceilings are still much higher than where they're at right now. They're only going to get better, and as they play together, their chemistry is going to build, and then their talent level is going to rise, and there's no telling how good some of these players can be. The duo of Wemby and Fox is only going to get better as they play together longer and longer. So the young core, with them being such a young team that's already so talented, with how much better they're going to get over time from just individual improvement, combine that with the fact that they're going to get more chemistry, this team is going to get unbelievably better just from self improvement, which is very rare for a roster that's trying to contend. And I think for sure, as they improve, that's exactly where the Spurs are going to go. And they have tons of room to improvement just from the guys currently on their roster. And then you look at the fact that, like I already said, that in a stacked 2025 class coming up, they're going to have two lottery picks where they're going to have a great opportunity to add even more depth, even more talent, and maybe even add more elite young players to this roster to make their ceiling even higher and their future even brighter. On top of the fact that they're going to have an ungodly amount of trade assets on this team. So say maybe all their ceilings end up being way shorter than anyone expected. Their ceiling isn't high enough to win a championship. Don't worry, because you have about 1 million young players to trade for a superstar to pair alongside Fox and Wembanyama. And I don't even think that's a likely scenario because I think some of the guys already on their roster have very high ceilings and are going to be great players for a long time. But say that none of them live up to it, they're still going to be young players that a lot of teams would love to have. Plus, they can throw in some of their picks, and boom, you're going to be able to find someone that wants to play with Wembanyama, and you're going to be getting a very easy ways to get stars. So your plan A is just hope this roster develops well, their chemistry builds, they individually improve enough to where you maybe get a third star, and boom, now you can contend. Plus, you hit on your next few draft picks that could go a very long way. And then plan B is just, oh, we will trade some of these players in our young core, get another star, and then boom, now we have a big three of Fox, Wemby, and whoever we traded for. And now we can easily become a contender once again. Because even if you have to trade some of your depth away, people want to play for San Antonio. They want to play with Wemby. They want to play with Fox. They want to play for Greg Popovich, assuming he comes back. So even if they do have to trade some of their depth, it's not the end of the world because they're going to be pretty easily able to sign some high-level veteran players, probably to the minimum, to fill out their roster and add much-needed depth if they want to go on a finals run. So I really think no matter how you slice it, no matter how you look at this roster, you can't really argue about the kind of just trajectory this team is on. Unless Wemby cannot stay healthy for some reason, and he has career-ending injuries, which God forbid he doesn't, I don't see how you can argue that this team's future isn't just unbelievably out of this world, and we can't even fathom how good some of these players are going to end up being. And I think that just with the clear paths of improvement, with the obvious how much they're going to improve from chemistry and from guys being healthy and from guys getting more experience, just from how obviously it is that it's laid out there, I think the San Antonio Spurs probably in the next 3, 5 years are probably gonna at least make the NBA Finals 1 or 2 times. And I just think that they could very easily see themselves getting a ring in the very near future in terms of like NBA future. So yeah. But unfortunately, guys, that's my first video. So comment below. Do you agree with me? Do you think the Spurs have the brightest future in the NBA? Do you think they're going to be able to dominate the NBA in the future like I think they are? I want your thoughts in the comment section below. And like, boy, like button, subscribe button in the episode. Word me, and I hope you have a blessed day because I had a blessed day. So you need to have a blessed day. All glory to God. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo.